Good evening, everyone. I am Sridevi Srinivasan. I'm the founder and director of Little Audible Learners, a platform to encourage young children in reading and communication skills. I'm a professional storyteller. I got trained from Geeta Ramanujan ma'am and also from Jeeva Raghunath ma'am. And I had a good opportunity to work with Eric for certain workshops, and I had an opportunity to translate his sessions in Tamil when he did it in Salem, a workshop for the teachers. So it's around 10 years back. So for quite a long time, I've been working with young children in the area of reading and communication skills. I use storytelling as a method or a tool to get along with the children and encourage them in falling in love with books. So with that said, now let me start the session. I sincerely want your inputs on what is that takeaway that you are expecting from this session. You can type it in the chat window. How are you connected to the read aloud sessions? Are you reading to children? Maybe I will put it one by one. Are you reading books to children? You can just type yes or no. Do you read books to children? That's the first question. Yes, yes. Lata says yes. Amrita says yes. Okay, Nita ma'am says yes. Okay, fine. Yes, Divya says yes. Lipika says yes. Yes, Vandana says yes. Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so that means we all are following the read aloud. In Muhammad says yes, fantastic. We are reading books to children in some way or the other. So I would like to know the next S on my YouTube channel, fantastic, Sudha ma'am. Now I want to know whether you are a teacher or a parent or a librarian. How are you connecting to this read aloud session? As a teacher or as a parent or as a librarian? Or a literary facilitator, maybe a storyteller or, yeah, a storyteller. A teacher, super. Librarian. Okay, educator, Lata Anand. Storyteller, Vidya Anand. As teacher and parent, fantastic, Mohammed. Storyteller, Lalita, fantastic. As a storyteller and founder of Book Mine, a library for children. That's amazing, ma'am, fantastic. Okay, so with that input, the last one I'm asking you is like, what is the age group of children that you're working with? Is it the children or adults, or what age group are you specifically working with? Okay. Okay, Lavanya, ma'am. Yeah, 2.5 to 12 years. Okay, that's interesting. 11 to 18 years. Okay. 11 to 18 years. Okay, that's a wide range. 6 to 14 years. To 12 years, 2.5 to 8 years. Fantastic. Good to know that you all are working in with young children where we need to impart and foster the love for reading. And we are at the right space here. Okay, Indra ma'am says one-time librarian for children, children's writer and storyteller for middle-aged group of children. Okay, fantastic, ma'am. I will definitely come back to you to learn about more about your perspectives on the discussions that we are going to have. So said that, let me share my screen here. So this session is specifically about the art and role of story reading, read aloud specifically for facilitating literacy and creativity. So that's the topic that we are going to cover here. Let me give you a heads up, like I was a software professional, and out of passion, I started learning to teach children. So the passion came from the session that I attended in the US on how to inculcate reading to young children. So from there, I learned a lot, and that became the turning point, the moment of epiphany in my life that turned everything around. And I started working with the storytelling initially. Then I learned Montessori and I did my B.Ed and worked with a school where I found the basic problem underlying issue is the reading. So I developed a curriculum for reading. All that is from the experiences I had with the children. So I had hands-on experience dealing with the children rather than having a degree or something with the reading specifically. I want to keep that as a heads up. And now let us get into it. We are going to see what is read aloud. Then we will see the benefits of read aloud. Then difference between story reading and storytelling. What are the effective reading strategies? What are the different ways that we can use storytelling strategies? And then some do's and don'ts of story reading. And then some hands-on activity that we are going to plan here. So I would say that the entire session is planned with a lot of hands-on activity so that you can use those activities with your children when you are reading aloud. Okay, so that's what is the plan here. So let us see this picture, read aloud. And what do you think read aloud is all about? You can unmute and talk.
Yeah. So basically to engage children by loudly reading to them.
Okay, loudly reading to them. Okay, fantastic. Any other thoughts?
To express while reading, to express how the word, and the diction.
While reading, okay, diction.
And how it relates, to the previous one. So the connectivity.
Okay, connectivity for the comprehension of it. Okay.
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
I mean, there are more, but let me close it.
Okay, fantastic, ma'am. Thank you so much, Revati, ma'am.
Enhancing listening skills.
Enhancing listening skills. Okay, fantastic. Okay.
Building their vocabulary when they read aloud.
Okay, fantastic. Anything else? When they read aloud or you read aloud?
Initially we read, and then when we encourage the kids to read, they will be familiar with newer words. So the vocabulary
improves.
blocks become more.
Okay, super.
Yes, basically when we read, a human being starts by listening. So this listening is very important. So children start listening to stories first, and then slowly they build up this focus and concentration, and then they can read on their own.
Okay, so that's fantastic. Yes, Neeta, ma'am.
Sridevi, the question was what's read aloud, right?
Yes.
Correct, yeah. So what I feel is read aloud, you hold a book and read it from a material. So instead of just narrating, you just hold the book from the text you read aloud. Maybe it can be a picture book or from a story book. You read it aloud to the group of audience. That's what I think read aloud. Maybe.
Read aloud is that. And obviously, we started telling the benefits as well.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Vandana, you have some points.
Yes, read aloud is when you not only read for yourself, you are reading to a group of people sitting around you.
Yeah, okay, fantastic, lovely. So thank you for all the active inputs that we have here. Now I read something.
I think we can add that we develop their imagination skills also through.
Yes. Yeah. Again, as
another excuse me. So another point is like enhancing their attention span. So how much they can listen to the reader who is reading aloud.
Okay, fine, fantastic. So what is read aloud? I came up across a wonderful definition. And I would like to, before saying the definition, I would like you to watch these pictures and then find out there are 4 different types of read alouds that are done here. So you can just take a close observation on it and then reflect your thoughts on it. So let us go picture by picture. So the first picture is this one. This, I think she's maybe an elder sister or someone elder in the home, and she's reading to few kids, or she may be a teacher, though she looks so young. She's reading to set of students. So what is she doing actually? She's holding the book And she's, yes, Lipika, you have some points to say.
Oh, actually, they're listening. So here we can say the children are more attentive listening to the reader who is reading. Right?
Yeah, they are just listening. They are not looking at something. Yes. They are just listening to what the reader is reading as such. Yes. And what is the second picture? Here, what is happening here?
So here it is visualization. More of they're looking at the pictures.
Yeah. They are looking at the picture.
Holding the book. Yes. Some of them are like near the book. They can look at the picture.
Yes, they are holding the book. They are looking at the picture, and they are actively looking into the illustrations. Maybe that is when the children get excited to look into the pictures, right? So that is happening in the second illustration, and second read aloud. And let us come to this read aloud. What is happening here? This is a beautiful, beautiful picture where mother is cuddling all of them, holding them on her lap, and she's holding a book. And we can see that
actually,
yes.
different kinds of emotions are means looking at the pictures, they are emoting or they are getting surprises. So it's a mix of emotions of the children.
Yes, and if you see closely, each one of them are relating to different part of the book. The little one is looking at some other picture and she's taking up something from the book. And the middle one is looking at something really amazing. I don't know what is amazing to her. Maybe it's related to Earth. So something like a rocket or spaceship or something is exciting to her. And the other child is also looking into, it's a different perspective. So I just want you to hold these thoughts in your mind so that it will be useful for us to discuss further. And this one is again a beautiful one. Here, the teacher is opening up the book and showing it to all the children. And the children are looking at the book as well as the teacher is reading it aloud. So they get an opportunity to look at the images as well as listen to what the teacher is reading. So all these are different types of, different kinds of read alouds that we can perform. But what is the type that we are going to perform to children? We can choose according to the book that we select to read aloud. So today we will be seeing two types of stories that I'm going to do it for you that will take you to a different level of read aloud sessions. Probably, I think I will be able to do that. So there are different formats and every format is perfectly fine. It all depends on the book that we choose. Which book are we choosing and what are the learning outcomes that we are focusing on in that particular book. Sometimes we need not have any learning outcomes. We can simply read it out for the sake of enjoying the read aloud session. So with that, let me get into the beautiful, beautiful definition. When you are reading aloud, what are you actually doing? You are living demonstration of the art of reading. So the read aloud session is the living demonstration of the art of reading. So can you just read that in silence and reflect your thoughts on it? It's more than what we said, more than what we say reading loudly or hold a material and read the text, or more than what we all suggested. It is more than that. It is the living demonstration of the art of reading. So if you have any thoughts about it, you feel that, do you feel that it is way above and beyond of what you thought about reading aloud?
It is about, it is not just reading. When you really be the reader and live in that. Kind of might be, what is a ghost. Okay, bring that thing of being a ghost or something, some kind of be that.
Okay, so yes, okay, we will see more about this. Thank you, Revati ma'am, for that input. Now I have a quick activity for you. I'm going to show you the benefits of what the benefits we all spoke about the benefits also when we asked about what is the meaning of read aloud. But let me show you the benefits of read aloud. But I want you to take a look at the benefits using a small, what to say, you have your paper, you can make a small circle like this, you can make, and then read along with me when I am reading the sentences. You can make a, what to say, a pipe or something you can make with your paper, and then you can try reading. So I'm giving this activity so that you can do it when you are doing a read along of a story with your children. So this is a very interesting activity to catch the words within the frame of this circle and then try to read. Yeah, Vandana is all ready to do that. Okay, Divya is also heading up. Okay, let's get into it. If you do it as much as you can, because since we are adults and we are learning about the session, I have a longer text. Actually, it runs for 2 slides. So let us do it. Provides models of language in use. It provides models for fluent readers, builds interest in language, increases awareness of words, builds vocabulary, aids in the development of new insights and understandings, extends and layers on existing knowledge, aids in overall comprehension, creates a risk-free zone in which all listeners have more equal access to knowledge, has the potential to spark a love of reading, can have a positive influence on reading attitudes. So you can very well see without this, but still you can do this kind of activity to improve the concentration in your children. The next slide is here. Provides a living demonstration of the act of reading, can model how readers think in the process of reading, demonstrates the nature and purpose of reading, shows the range of topics, styles, and genres available in written languages, helps develop tastes in reading and in selecting literature, improves listening skills, aids in the development of imagery, offers multiple perspectives, broadens the listener's worldview, makes the rhythms of written language familiar, provides demonstrations of the various ways stories can be developed. So it may look, it is AI generated, but of course I have used it is not AI generated. First of all, I have used each and every one of them, and I have seen the benefit of each and every one of them in children. So which was the most impressive point to you, and how do you connect with it? So in the 2 slides, we will go with slide by slide. In this slide, what do you think is most impressive to you, that you never thought this might be a benefit of Read Aloud? I think you all had, okay, fine, this is all we know, right? Any points?
Yes. With early years, I've always found read aloud sessions to sparkle interest in the language, to create the awareness of the words,
okay,
vocabulary enhancement. And over the time, maybe when they are in the elementary, that's when I've seen that the spark of a love for reading, that point I could relate with. And the positive influence of reading attitudes, just rather than holding a device and reading or just listening. Storybook reading, it has a positive influence when they attend the read aloud sessions. These are the 2 things.
Fantastic, thank you.
It aids in overall comprehension. See, it's just reading, of reading it and then comprehending it. It makes a lot of difference, not just reading. So that I found it.
Okay, that's fantastic. And specifically, it extends and layers on the existing knowledge. So it's very important that we need to work with the existing knowledge. We will discuss about this further. And in this slide, would you like to share any thoughts? So,
improve the listening skills. Big challenge nowadays for the kids, listening skills. But the story is when you do the read aloud session, somehow it's so magical. They start listening. It improves that's what for me, it's like when I saw all these points, this was the highlight for me. It's always
okay. Okay, so it improves the listening skills. Fantastic. Yes, Revati ma'am.
I would say it aids in the development of imagery, and the last one provides demonstration of the various ways stories can be developed.
Yes, stories can be developed. Yeah. And also it can model how readers think in the process of reading. So as we read, we stop in between, and then we reflect on it and then talk to them, and then that way they will understand that how readers are actually doing it in the process, right? So that is also something very interesting. We will be doing some activities for that as well. Fine. So with that, let us, okay, now I have a activity to you. I want you to take your pencils, and in your paper, you can draw 2 circles like a Venn diagram. You all know what a Venn diagram, right? So you need to draw 2 circles. So one circle here and another circle here, it should be intersecting each other. So can you see the intersection? Maybe I need to do it with a sketch so you can see it. My circle is not that great, that's okay. So this is the way you draw. It's like intersecting. So this side you can write it as story reading, and this side you can write, you need to write, so make it little bigger, or you can number the points and write it outside. So one side you are going to write it as story reading, and the other side you are going to write it as storytelling. Now we are going to specifically talk about stories. Read alouds are about everything that we are reading, but we are specifically doing it for stories as we are in the storytelling kind of workshops. So I'm going to give you the points. You are going to put it under story reading or storytelling. If it is intersecting in between, you are going to write it in the center. That's what is the activity going to be. Okay, so I hope you all understood what it is. Okay, so let me put up the points to you. You can write it in whichever side it is. It has to be in. So the first point is teller is free. Teller is free. Or I should say facilitator is free. Facilitator is free. You can write F for facilitator.
Free in the sense what?
Free, free without any props or anything. There is no medium. Where does the person facilitator will not have a medium in story reading or storytelling?
But in the reading also they'll have a book, no?
That's what. So you need to write this in the storytelling session. I mean, circle in the storytelling side. Okay. So it involves the facilitator's imagination, involves facilitator's imagination.
Who is the facilitator?
Facilitator can be a storyteller or a story reader, that you have to find out. If it is a storyteller, you will put it in the storyteller circle. If it is the story reader, you will write it in the story reader circle. If it is common, you will write it in the center, that is here.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
You said the first point, teller is free.
Yes, teller is okay.
So, but
Facilitator is free.
if the facilitator is free.
Yeah.
So, but in storytelling, if the storyteller is using some props.
However, there is no medium. There is no medium through which the teller is to present, right? So they are actually free.
Okay. Whereas in read aloud session, the book is a prop. I mean,
yes, book is a medium. You medium. Cannot. It is a medium. It's not a prop. It's a medium.
Okay, medium. Okay, so you have to stick to that.
Yeah, you have to stick to that, and yeah, exactly. You got the point.
The storyteller.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, storyteller or the story reader, he is the presenter without anything. So it has to come through his voice. Actually, the voice should make the difference.
Yeah, voice. Yes, ma'am. That we will definitely see. So that is, say, for example, if Revati's ma'am point, where can we write? Use voice modulations and gestures. Where can we write? We can write it in the center because both of them need this, right? So we can put it at the center. So there is a very close difference in the story reading and storytelling. But however, there are certain differences. Can you tell me who needs the listener perspective? Who needs prior knowledge to attend a story reading session or a storytelling session? Listener should have prior knowledge for a story reading or a storytelling. Say, for example, we are doing a session for small children with a picture book, or we are going to narrate a story. Okay, so which child should have, a child A is attending one session, child B is attending another session. So imagine and tell me which child needs that prior knowledge about the story or at least the context of the story.
See, if the child, can I talk?
Yes, please.
Maybe in story reading.
Okay, fine. That is, how do you say it's story reading, Deepali?
Yeah, because I feel the child already knows the story, but when he or she will listen to the story read aloud session, they will know what will be the expression, how is it read, so they will have a model kind of a thing for reading.
Okay, so I mean to say the child doesn't know they already know, then they know it, but they don't know. They are coming to the session afresh, and you are telling a story about a bat or any other animal. You are reading and you are telling. So, I mean, it happens parallelly. You assume which one is going to need, the child needs background knowledge. For which one the child needs background knowledge?
Neither. I feel they don't need.
Okay, they don't need, it all depends on the teller, right? So when you go for storytelling, you need to be aware that the children will not have that prior knowledge and they will come to you. But in the case of story reading, you have the illustrations that are going to help the child automatically pick up the pictures from the text that is being read. So you have something to show. At least in storytelling, if you have a prop, you need to think ahead and have a prop and everything you have to prepare. But in story reading, it is not the case. The illustrators would have presented everything in the form of the illustration. So it will be easy for the story reader to show this and then explain. So I would say the prior knowledge is needed for a storytelling session rather than a story reading session. So I would say story reading is even more important before a storytelling session. That is vice versa as well. We can tell the story and then show the pictures. However, to develop comprehension, to create the context in the mind of children, it's always good to read a story from a book, because the reason being, like, authors think through a lot when they coin the illustrations, when they write the pictures and write the story as such. So we have to, as a reader, we need to be in their feet and really work through it. Okay, so let us go through the points because we have a lot of activities as well to do. So let me go to the next point. Personal and emotional connection. Where does it happen? It happens in both the sessions, right? It happens in both the places. So you can put it at the center of it. Now you will know that developing print awareness. Where does it happen? Children develop print awareness.
Reading.
Reading. It happens in the reading. So you can write it in the reading side. And develops decoding skills of the words. Obviously reading, right? Story reading session gives the decoding session.
Yeah.
Now, builds vocabulary. Both of them gives us the ability to build vocabulary and improves fluency and communication skills. Improves fluency and communication skills.
Reading.
Okay, reading by the children. Both of it actually gives fluency and communication skills based on how we are going to present it. And final one, I will tell you, like fostering love for reading. Obviously.
Read aloud.
Both of it. Read aloud fosters love for reading a lot. And of course, storytelling will also encourage children to get into the stories and see what is there in the storybooks. So that's about the benefits of. There are a lot of benefits. We can see umpteen number of benefits about story reading and storytelling and so on. But as a teller or as a reader, we need to be a little bit mindful about how we are going to present the stories to children. And we can take a closer look and see what are the different aspects that we can cover during the read aloud sessions. So having said that, let us now move on to the next item. Like I'm going to present a story to you. Now I'm going to read it aloud and you are going to be looking at it and then listening. Okay, you all are going to be the kids. So before that, let me tell you that the activity that we did, this Venn diagram activity that we did, you can do this for children from grade 4 to higher grades, right? So you can ask them to do this when you are reading about, for example, you are reading about a monkey and a giraffe. You can ask them to write the differences and the similarities. And whatever that topic that you come across, you can ask them to do it when you are reading aloud. So reading aloud doesn't mean that you have to continuously read and then complete it. You can stop in between, you can take a pause, you can definitely interact with children and then come up with a lot of ideas. So I'm going to share a story with you now. This probably you would have known the story here, but I love this, love to tell the story. Yes, Neeta ma'am, you have raised your hands.
Sridevi, can you please just share the slide of this? You have shown the story reading and storytelling. You prepared a slide. Can you just share the slide?
It's a random slide I just prepared. I will just show it to you because I didn't put the points in Venn diagram format. So I thought it will be boring to read everything here. You want to take a snap, you can take it. And
thank you. And can you just add a 1 or 2 point more that how can we involve this Venn diagram in?
Sridevi, can you show that again with both sides?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And okay. What is the question, Neeta?
Sridevi, so like how can we use this Venn diagram in our classroom during these story activities that you were saying, I think something that you can, we can ask them in between the story that they can segregate this point in this story reading or story writing. What was that activity? I think I didn't get it completely.
Yeah. It's very simple. It's not only about the post storytelling session. You can actually do this as a curriculum activity as well. As an educator, if you are teaching in a classroom and you are making them to learn some differences, you can ask them to do this Venn diagram and then ask them to make two circles intersecting with each other, and then ask them to write the one side. This is the storytelling. Now, this is the example I gave you. Say, for example, they have to find out the difference between monkey and the chimpanzee. They can write monkey here and then chimpanzee here, and then write what are the features of the monkey here and chimpanzee here. So most of the time, the grade 4 to 8 students will join the storytelling sessions, but sometimes all the students will not get excited to the stories. I mean, telling kind of stories. So those children can be engaged in this. There are many activities to do. I hope all of you must be doing it. This is one of the activity that I follow, that you can ask them to find the differences as and when you are telling the story and make a note of it here. So they will be engaged in the listening more, and also they will be noting it down. And similarities can be written in the center. So it's a basic activity. I hope I answered you.
Thank you. I got it.
Thank you so much. Okay. Yeah. Okay, fine. So moving on to this, one of my favorite book, I'm so thankful to Pratham Publishers. I use most of the Pratham Publishers books because it's very easy for me to ask my students to read it again. So, and specifically this story, how many of you already read the story or you have performed the story with your children? Anybody did this? Oh my God, you didn't do this? I request each and every one of you to please go ahead, do the story. This is such a cute and beautiful story. I love this a lot. I want you all to actively participate like good children in this classroom. Okay. So shall we start? Yeah. So as we are going to start the session, like before the pre-reading activity, what are the pre-reading activity that we do? We show them the book and then ask them, what do you think the story is all about? Right? So that is the first question we are going to ask them. You know, why are we asking these questions? Any idea?
To generate curiosity.
To generate curiosity. Okay.
To know their perspectives.
To know their perspectives. Very good. Then?
Opinions.
Opinion. Okay. So to know, yes,
imagination.
Rachel, you have something to say?
To create a connection with the children?
Yes, to create a connection. Rachel, you want to say something?
Students are actually reading the pictures and deciding interpreting the pictures and deciding what the book is about, or developing curiosity about it, and making some hypotheses and assumptions.
Exactly.
There's a lot that's being communicated in the picture, visual perspectives also.
Yes, fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. And that is where something more than that happens. What happens is they get to think a story for the particular picture. And there are certain children who will get stuck with that story in their mind. And while reading, they won't be able to pay attention to what the author is actually saying in the story. So they can't relate to it. What is happening? No, I didn't think like this in my mind. Why is the story taking me to a different space? They will not be able to come out of their thought process and then get into the author's boat and sail along with the author. So it's always good for us to ask them questions and then ask them to shed their stories, ask them to tell entire thing, like take good time to have a discussion with each and every child. Of course, it's little cumbersome if it is going to be number of children, but still it is going to help you in the process of taking them through the session. Once they are sharing all their thoughts, this is what is the story all about, everything they say, then you say, okay, that is your story, let us listen to what author Hari Kumar Nair says. Then we start the session altogether. Yeah, Divya, you raised your hands. You had some questions in your mind. Divya, you had some questions?
No, it was not a question. This brought me back to the point that you mentioned whether the children need prior knowledge. In which of the things will they need prior knowledge? So by having this kind of activity, we'll actually understand if they have a prior knowledge and how we have to maneuver in that. That was my point. But then you told something, so I lowered my hand.
Okay, that's fantastic. Something to be noted. We also get to evaluate or assess the students' prior knowledge, and accordingly we can go about it. So that's something very important to us. So as usual, we all know that as storytellers or story readers, we need to give due credit to the authors and the illustrators. So we read What If, author Hari Kumar Nair, illustrator Hari Kumar Nair, and also tell children what authors does, what illustrators will do. We need to talk to them about that as well. So I have seen many children coming with, we read the story of this author, another book we read. So they relate to it actually. We read so many books, but they can relate to the books that the same author writes. So that's something interesting. Okay. So here is the book. I request each one of you to read. Divya, can you read? Okay. Read aloud, right? So you can practice your read aloud here.
My name is Shyam. I am 10 years old. I am a little skinny, but very bold. Waking up for school is no fun at all. I am so sleepy as I get up. I think I will fall.
Okay, so this leads to the, thank you so much, Divya. And this leads to the discussion of how you are going to wake up, how you will wake up for your school. Will you be happy when you wake up, or will you be tired? What will you say when your mom is waking you up? All those discussions will come, and then we will talk. Then we move on to the next. Vandana, can you read?
My eyes close as I begin to brush. I hear Amma making dosas in a rush. My mind slowly begins to wander away, and many ideas come into play.
Many ideas come into play. Of course, there are a lot of things to discuss in this book, but I will pick the one that I'm really focusing on right now. Let's move on to the next. He's brushing his teeth. Okay, so just remember that he's simply brushing his teeth. And what is he doing? Deepali, can you read?
Yes. What if my neck was 10 times as long? Half in school, half at home. Where would I belong?
Yeah, half in school and half at home. Where would I belong? So can you imagine yourself with your neck elongating like this? And then where will you travel? And can you look at the picture first? See how he's coming out of the restroom, and then he's going around the tree trunk and here peeping out from the window. And look at this bird. It thought it's a tree trunk. What do you think? This bird would have thought this boy's neck is a tree trunk, right? And what do you think the snake is thinking? Can you imagine? Kids will say like so many different things you can imagine of, right? I think it's another snake that is competing, or it is another big rope than it, or something different. And there is even a towel that is hanging. Somebody thought it is a clothes dryer, and somebody hanged the towel on it. And what will you do if you have a long neck? Any of you would like to take part? What will you do if you have a long neck? Yeah, Lipika, would you like to answer? What will you do if you have a long neck?
Half in office and half at home.
So body will be in the office, or what will be in the office? You have to say that clearly. How do you will travel?
Yeah. Actually, the mind should be there because already we have finished up the chores at home. So now the head should be there in the office, and the remaining at home.
Remaining at home. Okay, that's fantastic. So I remember when I was reading this to a child, she said, like, I will go into my grandma's house. I will see what is she doing. Then I will go to the kitchen and eat all the snacks. And then I will come out. How will you come out? Da? You will get stuck there. So actually we specifically read this book to break their thought process and allow them to think wild. Sometimes children cannot accept the fact that your necks can be elongated. They will say, I don't want my neck to be elongated. I don't want it. I'm so scared, right? So they don't want to imagine with their restricted mindset, or, we have that certain typical mindset that doesn't allow children to think creatively, right? So we are coming across such parents or such schools or some systems that are allowing children not to think too creatively also. So in those kind of mindsets, it's very much needed for us to read stories that will break their assumptions, and then they can be allowed to explore everywhere. So again, the next point is this. Who wants to read this? If you are on camera on, I will be able to point out. Swarnapriya, can you read?
Yeah. What if my legs were as tall as trees? My school building would only come up to my knees.
So what will you do? How will you walk? Can you imagine how will you walk? You will walk like this, right? So can we all walk like this? Huge steps. These are our feet. So such a huge step we will keep. And how will we see a giraffe? We look at it like this. Hey, you giraffe, right? So something funny. Yeah. Okay, we'll move on. Yeah. Levantika, can you read? Unmute yourself.
What if there was nothing too hard for my teeth? Think of all the things I could eat.
Think of all the things that I could eat.
I could eat.
Yeah. Can you see what are the things that boy ate? Aha, he ate the grass. He ate the newspaper. He ate the bag. He ate even the seat. He ate what is this?
A board?
It's a board, right? It's a name board. And he ate the windows. Obviously, we are working with the vocabulary as well. And we are showing them. And this is how we make sure that their pre-existing knowledge is also enhanced. And also we work on extending the knowledge. And happily he's sitting. See, chomping off all the things. Okay. Yes, Neeta.
What if my belly was as round as could be? All my friends could jump and bounce off me.
Ah, big belly as round as me. I remember nobody wanted a big belly. That's something really good about, but still it is fun. Just think of you become a trampoline and everyone are jumping up on you, and that's going to be a lot of fun, right? Yeah. Yeah. Rachel, would you like to read, Rachel?
I first wanted to say, when the child was eating everything in the book, I think you have to caution some children not to do that at home.
Okay.
What if I had big and floppy ears? I could hear everything far and near.
That's wonderful. So what if I had big and floppy ears? And actually the elephants can hear something like even the rumblings of the clouds, they can hear. Or if there is a river far away, actually the big floppy ears allow them to hear the sound of the water. So we will be able to hear that as well. As Rachel said, yes, we should mention about what are the things that we can eat and not to eat. Okay, I assumed because it is an adult audience here. I understand. Yeah. And there comes, oh no, I missed one page. Yeah. Here. We didn't read this page.
I will read.
May I?
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
What? If my arms were strong enough, then lifting Amma would not be tough.
Lifting Amma would not be tough. So this was something everyone started laughing out loud and, imagine what are the things that they can lift and all that. So I will lift my papa here, I will lift my mama here. So that's what they were imagining.
And
so
he's very happy also.
Yeah.
Very happy lifting Amma. And also something there that side. That's very nice. Lovely one.
And yeah. And now comes the end of it. Lipika, please.
What
Lipika.
if I begin, but Amma shouts, Sham, you will be late. What are you thinking about?
He's still brushing his teeth in the bathroom and thinking all of it. So Mama is saying, better go get ready. And now, yeah. Who wants to read this? Yeah. Yeah, please, Lata.
I find myself.
I find myself still standing with my brush in my hand, and I smile and think of my secret little land.
Okay, that's a beautiful story that we read, and thank you for the wonderful participation. So this story is available in storyweaver.org.in. What If is the name of the story. Thanks to the author and the illustrator for creating such a beautiful story. This story actually opens
put that in the chat?
Yeah, I will definitely do that, Rachel. And actually this unlocks the imagination of the children. That's what I have seen. But when you read this kind of book, you definitely need the illustrations along with you. Otherwise, it's very difficult for the children to imagine the neck traveling somewhere or the legs going up somewhere. In fact, even if you would have seen the images, it would have taken a minute, at least some time for you to process it, right? So it's way beyond our imagination. So we need to process it. So it's always good to have books shown to the children, the books of this sort to be shown to the children when we are reading it aloud to children. So that's about the book. Any other interesting observations that you had? Yeah,
Excuse
Deepali?
me,
Yes, Deepali.
Like during this read aloud, here we had the adult audience, but during the session with children, should we allow each and every child from that batch to read a page like how we do now? But maybe there are some children who are struggling to read.
Yes, ma'am. It all depends on, see, if you are doing it for a place that is very, very new to you, you don't know whether the children will be able to read or not. It's always good to read all by yourself. That is the best suggested way, because read aloud is I asked you to do it because I want you to model reading aloud, and also we are adults, we know to read. So when it comes to young children, it's very important for us to model reading. So it's always good to read all by ourselves. Even in the classroom, if you are reading a lesson, for the first few attempts, it's always advisable for the teacher to read rather than asking the children to stand up and read. You stand and read, you stand and read. No, that's not that advisable. But what we can do is, there are some tips that I can tell you when, as a textbook, if you have, right, you have textbooks. All the children will have the same textbooks. Sometimes school libraries will have copies of the same book that will be distributed to every child. And one of the best method that I follow is I read one page and then I ask the children to point to the words that I'm reading. And what I will do, I will hold a pen like this. Here we are used to red pen. So I use this red pen in my hand. And those who are putting their fingers correctly, I will just go and give a little star if it is their textbook. Okay, it is not in the library book. A small star in their textbook. So that really motivates them to read. And with a group of 30 to 40 children in a classroom, it's very difficult for a teacher to observe each and every child if they are reading, holding and all that. But this method actually works like magic. Once I do this for one particular child, everybody will focus and everybody will point. That is number one. Number two, after reading one particular page, I'll ask the students to count the number of and, count the number of or, count the number of the. So what happens is, even the child doesn't know the spelling of and, or, the, will start to learn it from others or from me and start picking up, counting it. It's very easy for them to identify, count, right? So they easily do this. And it's a successful method, I would say. And certain words, like we have longest or shortest in the book. So I ask all of you point to the word longest. So they all will point. I will go around the classroom and see if all of them are pointing to that particular word. If they are not, then I will guide them. So there are children who still don't have print awareness even in grade 3, 4 or 5. So we need to be little aware of them. If we are aware of them, then we can guide them. We can make them to sit with the children who are doing little better and then make them help. But we cannot leave it to the other children completely because they get frustrated. They don't want to spoil their time of reading. That also we need to be mindful of. But these are the interesting activities that I have followed and it really helped me. Okay, now moving on to the next book.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for that.
1 second, 1 second.
Yes.
Sridevi,
Yes, ma'am.
count the number of and the purpose is for what?
The purpose is for the students who are really struggling to read to identify the sight words.
Okay.
So if they count it, by the time they are counting it, they are reading it, right? A and E and. No, this is not A and E and. See, there is another word along with, another letter along with it. So this is not that word. Sometimes they don't even see what is there in the print. And then they will some other word when we are reading. So that is one thing that we can fix using this particular method.
Okay.
So the next book that we are going to read is even more interesting. This is another wonderful book and such a lovely book. And this book you can read like you read and let everyone listen. Okay. So that's what we are going to do. We can take it to any different level of using integrating technology or whatever it is. But it's always better to have the read aloud sessions as simple as reading, and a little bit of audio can be fine. Okay, so main idea is to bring out their imagination. Let me see how far you are going to enjoy this book. This book name is Welcome to the Forest, written by Bhavana Menon, illustrated by Kavita Singh Khale. So let me start with the session. Okay. Tulsa wishes she could visit a forest. Her teacher reads stories about tigers to the class. Tulsa loves to hear about forests and animals. One day, her wish comes true. Khare Chacha, a senior forest official, invites Tulsa and her friends to visit a forest called Kanha Tiger Reserve. They can't stop grinning. They will go to the forest for a whole day and a whole night. Fine. What are they going to visit?
Kanha Tiger.
Kanha Tiger Reserve.
Kanha National Park.
Okay, fantastic. It takes 4 hours to travel by bus from the school to the forest. As soon as Tulsa gets down from the bus, a strong hand shakes her hand and then ruffles her hair. Welcome to Kanha. It is Kare Chacha. Tulsa and her friends Rani, Mittu, and Dipti stay close to one another. Sniff in the air. Can you all sniff in the air? It smells of trees and leaves, says Mittu. The air is clean, like it has been washed with soap. Air washed with soap, adds Rani. It's almost sunset now. Kari Chacha and other officials tell them about the forest they will visit tomorrow. They play the sounds of the animals and birds for the girls to hear and recognize. 1 second. Okay. I don't want to share my screen. I simply want to share the sound. Can you hear the sound? You just tell me.
No, for me, no. I'm able to.
Okay, I think now you can hear.
Yes, now it is.
Yes. Okay. And then the ooh of the barking deer. Kee kee, the sounds of crickets. The next day, Tulsa wakes up at 5 in the morning. It's cold. Everyone bundles up in warm clothes. One by one, they get into the bus. All around us, there is tall grass covered in a thick blanket of fog. Ranveer uncle, the forest guide, tells them Tulsa can feel the cold and pure air in her mouth. It tastes like mint leaves. Shh. Ranveer uncle whispers, there are 2 jackals right next to our bus. Everyone listens carefully. They hear the rustling sound of the tall grass. Dried leaves crush under the jackal's feet as they run lightly into the dense forest. Ranveer uncle whispers again. A big deer called a sambar is standing on the left side of the road. The deer is brown and has big stem-like horns called antlers on its head. Everyone focuses to their left. Honk, honk. The sambar runs off. Sounds like a very big horn, says Tulsa. All the girls laugh. The bus moves on. Soon the air becomes even cooler. We are near a river now. Ranveer uncle says Tulsa can hear the gurgling of the water. So many birds are calling from the trees. That one is whistling, says Rashmi. Yes, Rashmi, that is called of thrush, says Ranveer uncle. Okay, so I stop here. This book is quite a lengthy one, but still I want to ask you a lot of questions based on this. What do you think about the story?
They are visiting a jungle safari.
They are visiting a jungle safari. Okay. Anything surprising did you notice in this story?
I think along the book, they get to know the names of a lot of birds. Like you said, thrush now.
Yeah.
And the I'm not very sure if the sound is given in that book, but because you have additionally played the sound,
I made it so that you have an experience of it.
So they will also be able to understand what exactly that sound entails.
Okay, fine. Any other observations?
Like when they got up in the morning, and they might have read somewhere, but really seeing all the leaves and the trees covered with, kind of a snow, that is something which one cannot, unless and until they experience it, one cannot visualize it just like that.
One cannot imagine just like that. Okay, all that is fine. But thank you so much, Revati ma'am. Very good observations. The one thing that we need to observe here is that the children were all blind. They were all blind and they were given an experience of the forest through their other senses.
Yeah, because of the gurgling of the water, you said.
Yes.
That was
so
there, yes.
Now after I read the story and then I asked you questions, and then probably I would have given a clue. Something special is there in the story. You would have guessed it. So if you see this, now you see, her teacher reads the story, right? She's not, she loves to hear about the forest. She's not saying she loves to see the forest, hear about the forest. And again, okay, here in this page, Tulsa gets down from the bus, a strong hand shakes her hand and then ruffles her hair. Welcome to Kanha. So there is no visual clues in this. I mean, visual words, descriptive words that is related to the visuals. All the descriptions are of other senses. So the smell of the leaves. And can you imagine why? Now you can imagine why they said the air is washed with soap. Because only time they can feel the freshness probably in the place where they were is when they take bath. After they are fresh, they can feel that smell is fresh. So it is mentioned here. Sorry. And that's why they had the session of the animal sounds. Sorry. So this book is completely written with all the other senses that are actively engaged, and it doesn't have the visual perception words at all in it. So this will be very, very well suitable for the children who are in grade 6, 7, 8 or above that, where you can tell them to write a story with only the other senses involved, or you can, ask them to find out the words that are giving other senses perception except the sight. So this is a wonderful story for you to read. So this is an actual incident that happened, and we had an opportunity to meet the author in our forum, in our Little Audible Learners. And Bhavna Menon, she is a wildlife conservationist, and she came and shared her view on the story and also how her work with our children in our online classes. So she did that. So it's a wonderful story that you can read.
What is the name of the story?
Welcome to the Forest.
Welcome to the Forest. Thank you.
Yeah. So there are a lot of stories that are, very good for read aloud. And one thing that is very, very important for us to do is to, I just gave a sneak peek into the story. I make a note of it in the sticky notes. I write what are the questions that I need to ask before the session and after the session. I make sure that I write and what are the areas that I need to work upon. So sometimes when the schools are asking for a maybe storytelling session, we can in fact tell the story and then have a story reading session where we get the children to look at the word or look at the books and then see through the illustrations. That will really soothing them. So these are the two books that I really wanted you to read. And of course, we can do a number of activities, right? Post post-reading activities, we can ask the students to find out the rhyming words. The previous book had a lot of rhyming words in it. So we can ask them to find the rhyming words. We can ask them to find opposites, antonyms, and many other concepts that we wish to teach. It all depends on what is that we have in our mind, what is the learning outcome we are focusing on. And then we are working with the children. Or it can be a simple, happy, to the parents, I always say this, have happy reading time with your children. Don't have any kind of learning outcome or anything related to it, because once you get into the learning outcome or a formal learning environment, the enjoyment of reading is a little bit lost. What they expect you to do is cuddle you and then read. Just spend some quality time reading with your children. Don't worry about them learning or whatever it is. So as they proceed in the reading aloud, so okay, let me ask you a question. When can we start reading aloud to all our storytellers and educators? Are there any parents who can answer? When can we actually start read aloud?
In utero.
Yeah? Zero.
In utero.
Zero.
In zero, you mean to say?
In utero. When if it's a parent, when the mother is pregnant.
Yes, exactly. That's what I want, actually. From the time one is pregnant, you can start reading books, because we know the story of Abhimanyu or any other, who learned Pragalatan, who learned everything right in the womb. And it's actually it will give a soothing effect on the baby. And there are a lot of benefits to it. It calms down, it settles the baby, and so many things are there. And of course, as soon as they start reading, as soon as they are born, we can actually read. And of course, reading aloud your books in front of the baby is also important for them to understand that reading is part of the family, right? It is just like how we see, for example, Lalita is folding the clothes and organizing. So it is part of the family chore. So reading is also part of the family chore, right? So that kind of thought process that should come to a child, so that they take reading as a pleasurable activity. And okay, reading dane, it's another activity at home. That is how they should think. In general, we say reading becomes either a sacred activity or it becomes a task. It's a homework task. So it shouldn't be of that case. It should be a pleasurable activity. Whenever they want to read, they should be reading. And what if the children are running away when you are reading storybooks?
I expect, in fact, they ask questions which parents or elders will not even would have gauged that these kind of questions would come from a small child, because their imagination, their way of thinking, and their way of thinking will be different. So we should be ready to reply or answer to those queries, which even we will wonder from where he has got these kind of questions.
Exactly.
So wonder questions. It is creating wonder in the wonderment in the kid's mind.
Exactly. So when there is a wonderment, there is a curiosity. When there is a curiosity, there is a learning. So we need to take them to that wonderment, actually. Like, we need to take them to the wonderful, wow, this is amazing. Then you get to see, okay, this is amazing. Can I know? Can I understand something more about it? So that is when we start learning anything that we can think of. So that is something we need to focus. Any questions you have, I can answer the questions.
Is there any book that you can suggest for special need kids? Maybe autistic kids or
autistic kids, like there are some books. Even in Pratham, we have like the one with Jalatarang. There is a book with Jalatarang that you can try it off. Probably I can bring up a list of books to you and then share it with you later.
Because my friend, she has got a grandson who is autistic. So if they can narrate stories or somebody else also having an autistic child. So for them, these things will interest actually.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
school
understand.
also will have, but because you narrated it beautifully, I just wondered if there is something special that you have. Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. I'll definitely get in touch with you. Probably you can note down my number. I will also type the Storyweaver website. I hope this will be accessed across the globe. Storyweaver.org.in. Storyweaver or Weavers? Yeah, storyweaver.org. This is the site I was referring to. It has a lot of free books, and also it allows you to write your own storybooks or translate your books into any language. It's a wonderful platform. Storyweaver.org.in. I hope this is the right one. And my phone number is here. If you wish to discuss any kind of thing or anything that you need, you can definitely get in touch with me. Yes, Neeta ma'am, you have something to say.
So Sridevi, what are the points that we need to keep in mind while doing read aloud with kids? I mean, definitely there are some do's and don'ts that we need.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for reminding that, Neeta. Do's specifically, we need to know the prior knowledge of the children, and we need to pause and then reflect. And as I mentioned earlier, we need to know, are there any presumptions with them regarding the story that they are still stuck in? Then we have to bring them on track to the story. That is number 2. And number 3, we should never force the students to come sit here and listen, sit like this. Why are you doing this? No distractions in between at all. It's okay if they are running around. That's what I wanted to answer as well. It's okay if they are running around. It's okay if they are roaming here and there. Their brains are always listening to us. We need to always have that mindset that until the age of 6, we are talking to the brain of the child and not the child as such. So they may be roaming everywhere, but they will be listening to you. So what you can do is attract them towards you by reading, hey, wow, this deer, see, it has such a big horn. Then they will come running and then look at the deer and then again go run off. That's it. That's absolutely fine. But they will be listening to you, and do not close the book until you complete reading the book, because that is also something that we are teaching them. We will read, we will complete, we will close it and put it in a proper place. So you are modeling the reading process. So you need to read it till the end of it, close it, and then put it aside. So sometimes they may not, they may ask you to read the same book over and over. That's absolutely fine. They are very comfortable with, and they are very confident, and they love the story. They are, they don't want to something new, think new. So it's okay. But slowly we can introduce, we read that book, and then additionally we can read one other book that they have not explored. So slowly we can improve upon. Other than that, make sure that you are asking them perspectives, but make sure that whatever author has written has been delivered very well. Most of the times, the books that comes with the illustrations has a lot of details in it. For example, there will be one particular character or a soft toy or a frog or a banana or a peel of a banana that comes in every page of the storybook. So ask them to notice. You have to notice that first, and then ask them to see if that is there everywhere. Sometimes I know certain books that has balloons that is fully inflated in the first page, and slowly the balloon will be smaller and smaller. It will be going up, and somewhere at the end, it will be at the top near the sky. So these are the things that we need to closely ask children to observe, and probably we can ask them to make a story out of the balloon alone instead of the main part of the story. So we can do so many things. I think it's very short time for me to explain all of it in 90 minutes. I thought 90 minutes will be too long, but it's very short. So there are a lot of things that you can work upon.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Neeta. Rachel, you have something to say?
Yes, when I was teaching, I wanted to be able to work with individual students, and I had the rest of the class. So I devised a method where every child would read the book to me, and once they had 90% literacy, they would then read it to each other, and every child got to test the other children. So those who were good readers, never made mistakes. Those who were poor readers could still test the good readers, because the good readers weren't making mistakes and the poor readers got more practice. And it was a way of really encouraging a lot of fluency and repetition and equality among the students.
Yeah, that's really wonderful, Rachel. Of course, when we are asking other children to read and be a model, we need to ensure that they are reading very well. So that is important.
Yes, well, I always checked for 90% fluent, correctness.
Also, what I see here is like we need not burden the children by giving them kind of responsibility, because sometimes they will simply love to enjoy. Sometimes there will be too much of need or lagging in the other children that will actually disturb them. They are going in a very fast pace, and these children will not let them to do it as they wish to. So it really disturbs them. So
what I actually did was I had different reading groups. So the readers that were advanced were reading higher level books.
Okay.
But when they test,
Okay. That's really an interesting activity. Once we know that they are reading good, they can be a model to others and they can be a role model. That's fantastic. So any other thoughts you have? And you can share your feedback about the session in the chat window. Thank you. Thank you so much. So you can contact me for any such sessions, or want to know about children's sessions, you can definitely get in touch with me. We do it for schools as well as for students as an online session after school program. Also, we do teacher training, and for the schools as well. Thank you, Neeta. Thank you, Lipika. And thank you for the wonderful opportunity. And with this, let me hand over the stage back to Eric. Thank you.
Sridevi, can I add a point before we wind off?
Sure, ma'am.
I really must appreciate the passion, I won't say hard work, but the systematic approach that has gone through your experience all these years showed so beautifully in this workshop. I'm really, very happy that I have attended this. And the examples that you showed, the Story Weaver books, for different age groups, are very special because it gives a peek into the child's world. Most of the time, we as adults decide what is interesting to them, how is the world to them. So these books bring in that beautiful child's perspective, their view, their experience, and they are so weird to us, like the long this thing that the child, the tree, it comes from that snake, and then there is a bird hanging there. All that we unfortunately as adults cannot imagine. I'm sorry to say, but I know it's an adult who has illustrated. But the very thought of the author to take that journey and for you to bring them as examples. And while I agree with Rachel for the standard that you focus on before asking them to read, I have tried in my class, like when I used to read English textbooks from a different class. See, suppose I'm going into a 4th grade or 5th grade, I pick up a 3rd grade or a 6th grade book. So what happens? The child is very surprised. So there is more interest. And then even in the class, when I read out, I just start off with reading a dialogue or something. Hey, Bunny, how are you? Something like that. Most of the time, it is the slow learners or the very naughty or the quiet ones in the class who come up who want to read more than the very academic ones. So I feel this reading aloud, whether at home or in the school, encourages a child, rids them of their inhibitions and brings in a fresh enthusiasm.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes.
it's a
Thank
wonderful
you.
tool, and
Thank
you have really see, because taking a workshop is not very easy. Like we get confused as storytellers, performers, teachers. There's a lot of overlapping, but this is where I appreciate your systematic approach to things and the way you put together. Lovely.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And I have my book published it's available in Amazon. It's called Mindful Ways to Raise Confident Readers. So I'll share the link in the chat window in some time. And if you want to take a look, you can definitely take a look and contact me if you need anything. So that's it. And again, I'm thanking each and every one of you for the active participation. Thank you so much, everyone. And over to you, Dr. Eric.
Yes, it's been a wonderful workshop. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric.